Okay, so we are going to finish off mapping out this line. And we're left in kind of a complex position. Another thing to note is that there are no games that we can identify that have reached this position, um, except one where they played c6, which does not appear to be anywhere on the computer's list of good moves. It also seems a little strange, just looking at what happens on c6, g5. Kind of have to know to play that, with the idea of what just being better. Okay, so this is going to be the issue here is that white's going to have a bishop pair after white takes this bishop on g6. It's going to be a wide open position. This bishop on g2 especially is going to be relatively difficult to challenge. The a pawn's going to run. Okay, so instead of that, the computer is stating that the way for black to play, which looks much better for black, is than c6, is bishop c2. That is going to lose the pawn on b7, but it's definitely looking like it might be an interesting position. So let us look at this. Again, queen e7. Just going to take here. I'm going to make a note on defensive moves. Knight takes g6, or maybe just g5. I think are we playing g5? Yeah, we're playing g5 on this line too. G5 and knight takes g6. Give an advantage. Okay, so instead of that, we're going to go with bishop c2. Here's bishop c2. Looks like queen takes d8 is the only move that the computer considers. It seems pretty like a reasonable move. Rook a takes, right, because the bishop's going to take on b7 immediately next, so you want to get this rook safe proactively. Bishop takes b7. Okay, and now we have no games that have ever reached this position, so we're entirely going from the computer and from our own intuition about sort of what. And when it reaches this stage of the game, where you're just playing it out with the computer, it's tempting to just play computer moves over and over again. But I've found that that's not as useful as making moves that make sense to me, because you're going to be playing this over. If it's really confusing, I mean, we're obviously never, or very unlikely to ever reach this position in a game. So it's just about trying to give a flavor for what this might turn into, or this could turn into, and to some degree to be inspiring. Like this should be something that should be interesting, and we'd like to reach this position and find the position be one that we would be fun to play. So those considerations all are more important than what technically is the right move in this position, just because you're never going to reach this. Okay, so in this position, computer wants to play either c5. c5 does not make any sense to me. It just blocks this bishop. Or rook fe8. Rook fe8 makes more sense. You're getting this rook active. You're hitting this knight. I want to know what... Okay, so rook fe8 just makes sense. I'm just going to play rook fe8. Oh, yeah, I see. Also, there's this bishop a3 idea. Like if you play like just something stupid, then bishop a3 hits this knight, pins it, and rook fe8 just gets out of the way of that. So let's just do that. Computer likes a3 anyway, which makes some sense, I guess. This knight is annoying. Covers c6. c6 looks like a useful square. So I hit this, and it looks like there are a bunch of moves. What would I play if I were black here? Probably would play knight d3, just because if you allow a takes b4, then it heals these pawns. Also gets white's threatening c5. So let's just play knight. The computer also likes knight d3, right? And then knight c6 only move. So that's another good reason to play knight d3, because this is the only good response. We want to be able to see it. knight d7, or rook d7, rook d6. Looks like rook d6 is met with knight b5 and then rook d7, so that seems like a useful move for white. So let's just play rook d7. And then g5. We were seeing that in this other line too, so maybe it's a good one to include. And then knight c5. What in the world? Knight c5 hitting this. Okay, so this bishop is trapped. And I can see that that is. Let me just look at this. If I were, I wouldn't probably just move this knight if I were playing black. But it thinks that that is a really bad move. Whereas knight c5, what's going to happen on knight c5? Knight c5, g takes, knight takes, and then something like bishop b2. Okay, so this is going to be a judgment call. I feel like obviously we're not going to reach any of these positions. Bishop b2, rook e6, knight e7 check. It's just a mess. I'm kind of inclined to, rather than show this to myself, show what I would play against what I would actually have done, which is moving the knight. So knight here. Oh, I see. The problem is knight b8, discovering the bishop's attack on d4. So the problem is this bishop's attacking this. So you play knight b8 after you trade on e4. And then bishop hits this, knight hits this, and black's going to lose in exchange. So, okay, that's the problem, knight e4. What about knight h5? Knight h5 doesn't have that problem. What's the knight b4? So the problem is bishop c6 skewering these rooks, as well as, of course, threatening this bishop. And if you take first on b4, then you're also threatening to trap this bishop with c5. So this looks like I see why the computer thinks this is really good. But I think, honestly, this is what I want to show. This is what I want to include. And it's always nice to have a line where, it finishes with white beating the crap out of black, because we're playing white. So knight c5 looks like the best move, and then bishop c6, skewering these, saving the bishop from the knight on b4, which makes sense. And then what it likes, king h2, sure. King g2, maybe this bishop, this light square bishop can do something, can check you, so maybe you just move here. We're just playing on what I kind of want to see now. I think f6 might make some sense, but I'm just going to play rook d8 because I don't like having my rook skewered like that. Looks like white can play e4. I don't know if I even want to do that. I'm just going to play here. Takes. Likes knight c6. It likes all kinds of stuff. Everything looks pretty good. I'm just going to play, sure, I'll play knight c6, why not? g6, who would play g6? I think knight e4 makes more sense, but computer likes all these other moves. Knight e6, hitting that weak g-pawn, sure. e4, here. Rook d1. Rook d1 makes some sense, even though I'm going to be losing that e-pawn. This, oh, so cute. Rook knight takes e7. That's the whole point. So on this, you just take the rook. Wow. The point is, that's what we're going to show. Rook takes here. Knight check. King has to go to a square where knight takes g6 is check. Knight takes g6. H takes g6. Knight takes d1. I think we're probably going to finish this pretty soon. Just bishop d4, knight c5. Rook b1's too easy. So knight c5. hitting this pawn, knight c3, knight e6, bishop here, and yeah, I think this is, we're almost at a spot where I would cut it off. Something with a flourish, maybe. King e7, and then knight d5 check. I think that's it. So I'm going to clean this up a little bit. I don't even know if I need any notes in here. This is all. Maybe I will make a note for that knight c5 move. So here, g5. Let's see. Knight c5 is best. After which, what was it? G takes f6. Knight takes b7. And then, was it knight d5, I think? Oh no, it's bishop b2. That's right. Okay. Knight takes a bishop b2. Oh, did I lose it? Oh, thanks a lot. Where was it? It's here. After knight c5, g takes f6, knight takes b7, bishop b2, white has a slight advantage. Okay. And then we show the rest of the game, which it ends with this slaughterhouse for white. Okay, so that is a model game. That's what I'm gonna put that into my list here, and you don't have to watch me type it all in. That's what I would do. And this is going to be chapter 1. Is this, and ultimately I'm going to be downloading it as PGN and getting it into Chessable, which is where I do my memory work with all these annotations. And there are not a lot of annotations, but this is basically what I'm going to be talking through and make sure I remember when I'm playing through this game. But I kind of like this game. I'm just going to run through it one more time just to show it, because I think this is a pretty fun game. Here. And then this stuff, b4. What a move. And then this hitting the queen, and it becomes this mess of a position. Knight c6, this, knight b4, which ensures that you can skewer the rooks. Here, hitting this. This is such a pretty move. Rook d1 with the point that on takes, you don't take back, because then if you take back here, you lose the e-pawn to the bishop. No, you check, and then you take the bishop with check, because black's king can't move to a square where knight g6 is not check. And then you keep the e-pawn, and you even defend that f-pawn, and then you defend this, and then you're just going to trade off minor pieces and win. Okay, that's it for this video. Thanks so much. We're going to look at line number 2 next.